The ultimate compliment is to be considered an asset by those who know you. But what exactly does that mean? And how do we get there? I believe that there is a less discussed approach to becoming a person of value, a person who is successful, respected by others, and fulfilled. It's somewhere between the hustle culture and the ease and flow of manifestation. This podcast is designed to be a resource for the ambitious, the relentless, and the rare who are breaking societal norms, going against the grain, and are open to unconventional practices as we study what it takes to be a true asset in every area of life. My hope is that you'll find this podcast unique and like it enough to share it with a friend and maybe even one day join us at one of our in-person events. Enjoy. So how about a jewelry company made and designed by a medically retired female officer? Yeah, let's support her. It's called Blue Monarch Co. You can find it on Instagram. You'll be able to check it out in the show notes. Anyways, I've been wearing this necklace from her company since January. It has come I don't take it off. It comes in the shower. It comes in the tanning booth. It goes everywhere with me. And it looks amazing still. Go check it out because right now she's offering you, as one of my listeners, 40% off. The code is going to be right down in the show notes along with the link to her website. And you can go check out the pictures of me wearing my angel necklace on Instagram if you have any questions. Hope you check them out. What's up, everybody? Autumn Clifford here. I'm really excited to have you on the show. Today, I want to talk to you about finding community. I have several clients who have been talking to me about feeling like they don't fit in, feeling like they are the only ones struggling in certain areas or feeling certain ways. And I want to talk with you about this because it is so funny. You know, I've had the privilege of coaching for the last 8 years. I've coached hundreds of people in person, online. You know, I've had the opportunity to touch thousands of lives. And here's the commonality is we all think that we're going through shit all by ourselves and that nobody understands us and that nobody else is going through exactly what we're going through. And here's what is funny about that is the majority of my clients are all going through the exact same thing. And the majority of people that I reach out to or that reach out to me and that I talk to, and everybody's going through very similar, you know, I call them potholes. We hit potholes and they're the same, or we hit roadblocks in life and they're very similar. And one of the biggest ones is feeling like we don't fit in. And the idea that we don't fit in is very interesting, but I think what it comes down to is, you know, as humans, we have this need for community. We have this need to be loved. And if we don't feel that if we feel like we don't fit in, then obviously we're feeling like we're not loved. And if we're not feeling these things, we definitely don't feel like we're in a sense of we don't have a sense of community, right? And so it's important that we, first of all, acknowledge that we feel that way. Just being real. I'm just going to be upfront with you. Like, it's okay if you feel this way, and you're not alone. And I think that that's one of the biggest things. Like, I just need you to know is I talked to a young lady yesterday and on a coaching call, and she gave me this. She was talking to me about the situation that she's going through at her workplace, and I said, you know, what's really interesting is the majority of all of my clients feel the exact same way that you do. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like the women who I have that are, you know, working, they feel the same way that you do. And she's like, I thought it was just me. And I'm like, no, it's not just you. We all feel this way. But what happens is we choose not to be vulnerable and we choose not to show that in real life, especially if you're a first responder, if you're in the military, or if you are in a job that could be male dominated or where you cannot show weakness. Maybe you are a woman who is a boss and, you know, you just cannot show any kind of weakness. So vulnerability is perceived as weakness. out in the workplace, when in actuality, your vulnerability, your ability to be vulnerable is actually extremely courageous. And it makes you, when deployed, in my opinion, correctly and effectively, and not as like a whiny, woe is me situation, when you can be vulnerable and show like who you actually are, that makes you become 10 times more respected as a leader, as a person, and whatever it is that you're doing, whether, you know, you own your own job, whether you work for somebody else, you know, whether it's just within your friend circle, whether it's in your family, it doesn't matter. And if we were to show our vulnerabilities a little bit more and just be honest and real with people about things, I think less of us would feel so segregated and like, oh my gosh, like I'm all by myself and all alone. But like an online, it's very interesting because the online space has created this idea that if you're not perfect, if you don't look like me, if you don't wear matching gym clothes to the gym and you don't look hot as fuck going to the gym, like we're not the same. And if you don't have a beautiful face on at all times, like if your makeup doesn't look amazing at all times, like we're not the same. We don't fit in. And if you don't have a lot of followers and if you don't look a certain way, act a certain way, like you don't fit in. And it really has perpetuated the idea that we are all alone. That is not where we come from, my friends. If you go back and look at our history, we literally come from communities together, being together, where we do fit in. So I guess the question becomes, okay, Autumn, so this is how I feel. I might feel this way. I could really resonate with us. What do I do? I guess the answer is this. This is Autumn's answer. The first step is really to be honest with yourself and be vulnerable with yourself. Now, some great resources are to go ahead and watch Brene Brown. She's like the queen of vulnerability. She's a shame researcher. And she put out this TED Talk. And you can go, if you just search Brene Brown TED Talk on YouTube, you can listen to it. If you search that TED Talk and then you go on YouTube, check that. Then you go on Netflix and you watch her Netflix documentary. She talks about how she was so incredibly vulnerable and what happened and how she gave this TED Talk. And she followed her instincts and she did what, you know, even her husband was like, no, don't do that. She did. She trusted her gut. She followed it. Ended up having such a massive impact. But there was also, she received a lot of hate. She received a lot of hate on the internet. And it really made her step back. And like she had some, you know, she talks about like this shame storm and all this shit that she went through. It was so beautiful because I feel like we can all relate to that. It's like anytime that we dare to step out and be who we actually are, it's so fucking scary that we don't do it. We recant. And I guarantee you there's so many times in your life that you can relate to this. Like you want to step out and be who you are and you want to show the world like this is who I am. And you want to be vulnerable and relatable. Yet you don't because it's fucking scary. And when we're vulnerable and people make fun of us and people tease us and they bully us and they harass us, it is absolutely devastating. And so we don't. And then we put all this like armor on and then eventually we're like not even human. And then how can you relate to anybody? And you find yourself unrelatable and you find yourself not being able to relate to anybody. And then like now we're walking around and we have millions of humans doing this. And then the internet perpetuates it. So the work really is getting to know yourself. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you're enjoying it and getting some good stuff, mind-shifting things from this. I just wanted to remind you super quick that if we are not hanging out on social media, we should be. You should come hang out with me. I am the Autumn Clifford on Instagram. I'm Autumn Clifford on TikTok. And I have a Facebook group called She's an Asset. Love to have you there. Love to hang out with you and get to know you. Thank you so much for supporting my show. Let's continue. this year, in 2022 was a year for Autumn's growth. I hit a year that has really made me grow substantially. I'm going to talk to you more about that. It is going to be a topic that I will be making posts about and making podcasts about. It was a very hard year in every aspect of my life. And there was not one aspect of my life that did not get hit. I felt like I was, under fucking attack all year long. And I did what I teach all of you to do. I hired a therapist and I hired 2 other coaches. So I'm like, I am hiring my team because I needed the extra support. I absolutely needed it. And I do recommend that. Don't try to navigate all that shit. Like, you can't be in a war zone, of life and be trying to navigate it all by yourself. I mean, you could do it for a little while, but if you're not getting anywhere and you're just treading water, don't try to do it by yourself. Hire. Whether it's a therapist or a coach or both, just hire people to help you. Anyways, and I started getting very consistent. Last April, I started doing yoga again 4 to 5 times a week. And that is not new to me. I am a prior yogi. I just took some time off. And because of COVID, to be honest with you, because my instructors, because of all their shit got shut down and she didn't do anything virtual. But my therapist is also a yoga instructor and she's phenomenal. And she really taught me about the power of finding out who I am again. And it was interesting because I did feel like I lost a lot of myself. I feel like no matter what, it's like we're always like peeling back layers to the onions and getting to know each other and getting to know ourselves because we're always changing. I mean, us as humans, we're always changing. The person who I am today is not the person who I was even 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Completely different. I've changed. And you should. You should be. I want to be around people like that. I don't want to be around people who are the same, who are always the same and they're not going anywhere and they're not learning and they're not growing. They're not changing. I don't want to be around people like that. Tony Robbins says you're either growing or you're shrinking. You're not plateauing. Okay. So I want you to keep that in mind. Anyways, I've gone on this journey of really understanding who I am. I was not understanding, like there was some things playing out in my life that I really couldn't understand. But the bottom line is it was all playing out because I wasn't being super authentic to myself. And it wasn't like I was being a fraud or anything like that. It's not that. You are not being a fraud. It's nothing like that. It's just what happens is we build up those walls. We build up those walls and we don't want to feel certain things. So we don't. But we start denying ourselves who we actually are. And especially because it might not be accepted within our families, within our friend circles, within where we work, online, in society. It just might not be acceptable. And so we deny ourselves of who we actually are. That causes you to gain weight, causes severe depression, severe anxiety, causes you to be frustrated, it causes you to hate yourself, it causes you to hate everybody else, it causes you to just think everything is bullshit, and it causes you to shut down. Don't ask me how I know. Once I decided to go all in on this journey of getting to know myself at a deeper level, more and more and more, and every day, and doing yoga and showing up and working out and eating food that really nourishes me and spending time in meditation and really working with the flow of the universe, taking, aligned action, but also, working with my instincts, all of the things that I talked about in prior episodes. I was able to be vulnerable with you, be vulnerable with online and with my people who know me in person. And when I go and I speak and I host trainings and I do the things, like people could relate to me on this level that nobody ever could really relate to me prior. That has given me the ability to not need to feel like I need to fit in anymore. I hope you're tracking me because I got to know myself, because I accepted myself, because I love who I am. It's been a long journey. But because I'm here, I'm constantly working on that too, by the way. I don't just fucking love myself. Here I am. No. It's constant It's a constant journey. You're going to be constantly on this journey of self-acceptance and self-love, because you're going to do things that you're not proud of. You're going to remember things about yourself that you're like, oh shit, oh, I did that. Oh, that doesn't feel good. But when you stop trying to shove that person, yourself, down, and you stop trying to shove the shit away from you, and you just kind of give it a big old hug, and you're like, yeah, fuck it. This is who we are. We did this. We are this. We were this. It's okay. I forgive you. When you do that, you're able to move through this stuff, and you're able to see yourself, and you see the world in such a way that you've never really seen it before. You no longer are looking for outside influences to love and accept you. You love and accept you, and that starts being good enough. And that's been the journey that I've been on. And because of that, you find community, and you find other people who are like you. They're not miserable. They're not bringing me down. They're on the same journey that I'm on. And the conversations we have are so enlightening. And, we cannot talk for months, and we can text, and I can call, and whatever I need, they're there, and whatever they need, I'm there. And it's just this like beautiful new level that only comes from being truly, truly authentic. And that authentic, what I mean by that is loving you for you and accepting yourself for who you are. Now, that does not mean that we're not always I'm not striving to be better. I'm always striving to be better. I knew, I was 20 pounds heavier than what I am today, 20, 25 pounds. I knew that was not acceptable. I'm like, this is not who I am. But when I stopped hating myself for being so overweight and started accepting, like, okay, we're here. And I can hate myself every 5 fucking seconds. I look in the mirror, or I could go, you know what? This is what got me here. And we've been through this, as me and my body and my soul. Like, we've been through all of these things, which is what led to this. Okay, we're here. Now we're going to take action, but not out of hate, not out of fucking despising myself, more out of, I want to love myself even at a deeper level. And so I want myself to feel the best it can be. That mindset shift may not be common, especially in the first responder and military world, in this world of like, you need to be better and do better at all times, and you need to blah, blah. It's the thing that changed me. So you don't have to do what I'm telling you, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's the thing that changed me. And it's the thing that caused me to not have to look for outside acceptance, outside love. And because of that, I've been able to accept myself, love myself, continuously work on myself, right? But I no longer need somebody else's approval of me. And I'm telling you all of this because I want it for you. You have to go on this journey of self-exploration. I have a client right now. She came to me, and she is a beautiful, ambitious, successful young woman. And she just continuously has felt like this emptiness, this like, I don't fit in, I'm not loved. And this is the formula we're going through, and she's doing it. And she's yielding the results, even with just working with me for a month. It's wonderful. Connect to yourself. Allow yourself to be who you are. I think I say this on every podcast. Like, I think this is like my overarching theme. Like, you want to be the asset. You want to be an asset. You want to be seen as one. It's like, you have to embrace who you are, man. You just have to. And you have to forgive yourself for all the shit that you're not and all the shit that you've done. You got to stop trying to fit in. If you're looking for a community, come into mine. It's called She's an Asset. It's on Facebook. It's women, but I'm going to tell you, if you're a man listening to this and you want to be a part, like, you're a good guy, you don't mind being around a bunch of women, I'd love to have you come into my community. I'm always, I've coached a lot of men. I'm not excluding men from anything that I do. It suggests that women seem to really jive with me and my message a little bit more than the majority of men, because the way that I do things is unconventional. It's effective. It's unconventional. If this was, if you found this helpful, if you enjoyed this podcast, do me a favor, share it with somebody who needs it. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the She's an Asset podcast. If you wouldn't mind, could you please share this out? The only way we grow and I can get this out to as many people as possible is with your help. So we're kind of in this together. And the good thing is I know you have my back. So I want to say thank you and ask for you to share the show. And if we're not hanging out in the socials, I hope that you'll come and hang out with me. I'm Autumn Clifford pretty much everywhere. Thank you so much. See you next time.